Welcome back to Bill's One Car Garage. Today we're going to be working on side pipes. So headers, side pipes on my 79 Corvette. I have new muffler inserts that we bought. So we're going to put them on. We have the O2 sensor bung relocated on the exhaust header on the passenger side, so I'll show you that. Alright, and we'll get to it. Okay. Alright, first thing I'll show you is the exhaust header. So this is for a side pipe tar. Comes out 4-inch. So it comes from the engine out under the frame and then over. So with that, the reason I moved my sensor is because the sensor that sits here actually will point downwards, which means it can collect moisture in it. I'm going to grab my sensor here. So normally you want your sensor to be on a slight angle to allow drainage out the end where the sensor is here. But mine was sitting like this, which was fine when the car was warmed up and hot and running all the time. It was good. The little bit of moisture that would be in there at the end, the header and everything would stay hot enough that it would get rid of it, and I never had a problem. But if I did a bunch of short starts, I mean, like running the car in the garage for a minute just to move it out, it would give the opportunity for moisture to get in this and kill it. So what I did is I got a new bung welded on here. This is on the number 6 primary tube, so it's closer to the engine. It'll be hotter. It is in the up orientation, so there should never be moisture that collects in it. And it should be better. I shouldn't be killing these things because these are Canadian, $200 each. Not good. Alright, so we're going to work on the inserts. Never mind that train. So this here is an insert. It's a muffler insert. There is an inlet and outlet. I've taken these ones out and I've marked them, and I'll pull the one out of this and show you how I do that and show you the difference between these two. So they're a few feet long and they just slide right into the side pipe. So they are down a little bit here. Is just put them on a piece of wood, something firm, but something that won't bend up the end. And they normally will just move out. This one here I got in really good, so it's giving me there we go. Okay. So it's at the end here, so you can't get it out anymore with that. But if you knock it back in, it'll slide. So there you go. So the lip of it's right here, and I find these new ones. So the old ones are Doug's 950s, And these ones here are Doug's 952s. So I'm not going to pull this one all the way out. It's being a little bit of a pain in the butt, but you can see it has come right to the edge here. So with this, you could probably put the other one, I put a hammer end in the other end and just gave it a knock and it slid out enough I could grab it and pull it out. As long as they haven't been on the car too long, because these get rusty. Obviously a little bit rusty on these. And when they do that, because these will collect moisture in the car, and they will rust through the muffler. You get moisture between the muffler and the side pipe itself, and then it'll rust out the side pipe plus the muffler. So my original set that I took off this car, they were rusted right through the side pipe. So when I tried to take out the insert, it basically just fell apart anyways, and there was no salvaging the side pipe or the mufflers. So I ended up buying these new sets here. So a new side pipe for each side, which they come together, and the mufflers come in pairs too. All right, so what we'll do is we'll knock this one back in. Like I said, it's just stuck a little bit. I'm sure if I knocked it from the bottom or just worked it, it does have a little bit of a wiggle. It will come out pretty quick. The other ones, when I started getting them out, I would knock it and then lift up the side pipe, and it just ended up sliding right out. All right, so I'll show you how to get these in. So you get them pushed in. They are marked. They got a paper tag on it, says inlet. So obviously that's the inlet to the exhaust insert. So from the engine in. So this is my inlet. My outlet side of the insert is, of course, near the outlet of the pipe. Okay, and I'll show you how to knock these in and measure them. All right. To knock these in, and then we're going to measure them. The measuring tape, because when they're fully seated, they're not going to rattle around like this, and they'll be in about 3.5 inches. So I just use an old 2x4. Put it up on the ground so it won't get marred up. And start knocking it in. It's pretty much there because it's not moving, and we're almost 3.5. So that's the big thing. If it's not moving anymore, it's not rattling around, you know that you're pretty much fully seated. And like I said, about 3.5 inches in from the edge into the edge of the insert, you're pretty good. Alright, so we're going to get the header up in the car, up in this space. So let's see what we got here. So we've got some good room here. The starter's still in. I disconnected my, let me see if I get my light here. So this is my power from the alternator through the high amp fuse over here. I have that routed around and it comes back. And it comes back to the starter lug, which makes a nice convenient location for that, to supply extra amperage I need from the alternator and to give a good steady supply. So what we'll do is, obviously with these side pipe cars, you have to jack it up just a little bit to be able to get the header to roll up under and up and in. So let me get that. So doesn't take too much. So the car's already up in the air a little bit because I put it on casters. If you have a small garage like mine, casters are really a saving grace to get the car to be able to roll around and move around that you need space in your garage in the winter time. So let me grab a tape measure and we'll see how high up it is. So the problem right now too is with the car on the caster, I can't use my lift because the lift actually catches the back caster a bit because it's just a little bit too long. All right, so right now we are a little bit over a foot high, and it's probably all that we need to get this done. Now, like I said, you don't need a lot. Just make sure you jack up on the frame properly. I have my jack and I have a hockey puck on it. So we're just going to take the header and we're just going to place it under. And then go from up top and just feed it in. There you go. Let me get my little helper. Alright, welcome back. So we have the exhaust header back in the car, and we're going to put on the actual side pipe now. Side pipe mounts for the dugs, basically they consist of a T bolt. So they have this welded bolt. Basically it's a bolt with a oval washer on it, and that will fit in to your frame rail. So there's already slots in your frame that they go into. So you can see there's one here and there's one back here. So these here will fit in this way right into the hole, and then they'll turn sideways, and then they'll catch the frame and not pull out because they'll be basically facing the wrong way in the hole, and there'll be overlap to keep them in. So what I do is I put on this rubber bushing. So it's a two-piece bushing, has a piece to keep them both together, and basically they'll fold over each other and clamp. There we go. They'll fold over and clamp on the side pipe mounts, like this one here. So that's it all assembled. So let me get this off and we'll get this all put together. So yeah, so first thing I do is I'll slide one part of the bushing on, and I'll leave a small gap so that way I can put this into the hole in the frame and then turn it sideways. And what I try to do is I will line up this little strip here that attaches both sides of the rubber bushing. I'll have that on the long flat side of the bolt, so that way when you take it, when you put it in and you turn it, you can actually see the direction of your bolt. You know that it's going to sit sideways, I mean up and down, and then your little tether here will be sideways, which is what you need anyways to get around the side of the mount on the side pipe. And then you can just put the bushing back over itself once you get on the other side of the side pipe. Put this one in. Turn it, and if you can, you push your bushing with your fingers up against the frame on the threads, and it'll help it stay in place. The nuts on the bushings or the mounts here are 9/16. So you get a nut, a lock washer, and a large washer to compress the rubber bushing onto itself. Alright, so that's out. So we'll line up this bushing on itself, put it in the hole too. Got it too far that I can't push it back down easily. There we go. So there we go. So that'll stay in position. The side pipe has this pinch bolt, and you'll see there's a little you can see the light through the gap. There's a small cut in the side pipe here that will compress down with this 1/2 inch bolt. Well, the heads are 1/2 inch, I bet you the bolt's 3/8. But yeah, so that'll pinch down on that and compress this onto your actual side pipe. So when working your side pipe on, you're going to put your 2 bolts in your frame. You'll take your side pipe and just start wiggling it on until it's fully seated. And also you'll see when the tabs are lined up with the bolt. So that's the two things you gotta do. So get this end here fully seated, and we'll get this lined up. So you don't want to pound these on, because then you're going to be pounding up against your header, and you don't want to damage your bolts or anything on the engine. So I just gently work it on. Get it in position that I can see that I'm lined up with both of my mounts. And now we'll lift it up and put it up onto the mounts and start working the rubber bushings and getting them fully pulled through. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Alright, so we got our bolts pretty lined up. They're all fully in the groove. So we'll move our side pipe, and little thing I do, what should I grab here? So you're going to want to turn the side pipe on the header to kind of roll it up onto the bolts, because you're right at them, and to get the side pipe onto the header, you're going to be close here, like in proximity to the frame. So all I do is I take a hammer handle, and I stick it into the side pipe, and then I can just pull up on it. It'll turn the side pipe on the header and allow me to roll it up into position. So this car came with side pipes, so I didn't have to do anything with original installation, but from what I understand from the instructions, there may be some trimming needed around the mount here to be able to get the tabs from the header up in. So on this side here, I do feel a little bit of grinding. Somebody's done a little bit of grinding here to make clearance on the rear mount to make that clearance. That's rolled up a bit, and your mounts, they do have some play that they can go back and forth, so just make sure you're up on your header enough, and then you should be able to center both of these pretty good and get them in position. So once they're up, make sure that your bolt hasn't turned on you and popped out of the frame. So that's why I say it's kind of important to have that little tether pointing to one side or the other, and then that way you can kind of keep track of that. So once you get you up on the mount and the other side of your bushing pulled over to the outside of the mount, put on the large washer. Don't put on the lock nut yet, and get your nut on, and that'll help make sure that you pull your bushing all the way through the nut, and then you can go back and loosen them up. And then sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once here. Loosen them up and then get everything pulled up properly tight and secured. Sometimes with this it might take 2 people. So you'll notice here too that I haven't put my trim on yet. The trim goes on after, because the trim will actually cover up these bolts. And I'll show you a couple things with that. So the welds on these T-bolts are pretty good. I don't think you have to worry too much about breaking them, but tightening these up, I would just say just crush your lock washer, and you should be able to feel that it's tight as you're tightening it. So that's pretty good. So like I said, I'm just going to open my door and make sure it's mostly on the back here, and you can tell with the side pipe. You can tell with the side pipe here if it's facing up or down, and if it'll hit. Yeah, see, so that hits right away right here. So we are just going to just push it down like that. So the rubber bushing will flex for you, and it will help it out. And like I said, it's still tight enough up on the header that it allows it to not roll back up on you after you push it down. So check it again. So yeah, I don't know, 1/4 inch clearance. Maybe we'll see if we can give her just a bit more. Put the hammer into it. Just push down a bit also, and that'll roll it on the header. Yeah, see, now I can put my finger under it mostly all the way. So that's pretty good. And with me, I have my guards, my shields here to protect everybody's legs as they come out of this thing. So you're going to want to, if you have shields, I don't know how the mounts are on yours, If they're flush or whatever, you're going to want to check that too with opening your door. So put my shield on. I have acorn nuts on the top of mine, and I have plenty of clearance here. So with the door fully open, I will be good. So now we can tighten up the front. It is 1/2 inch on the front screw here that connects your side pipe to your header. So I just use an offset box wrench, set it on top, and then I'll just tighten it up from the bottom. They don't really give you room. The nuts and the bolt pretty much hit as you tighten them up. So just give her a good tightening that you know it's not going to move. Of course, you're going to do it blind, unless you're up on a lift and you can see the bottom, but then you won't be able to see the top, or have somebody hold it. So same thing with tightening it up. You'll know when it's tight and it's good. These do provide a pretty good seal. I don't think I've ever seen anything exhaust coming out from here. So once you tighten down that and it fills up that gap, it's on there. It's not going to move. So right now, if I try to turn it, yeah, it's not going to turn on there. The mounts are all situated. And it's all on there. So I said, shake the whole car now, it's all good. Okay, trim. So I just started off in the front, get it behind the header. Try not to scratch up your paint. It's got these ribs and it's not too flexible, so you do kind of have to get it right in. So this here came in nice. There we go. So of course it's going to fit right under the door, and you can line up your holes for your screws, so you can feel where they are. And there we go. That is it. So my screws, I just put them in order of how I took them out in a magnetic tray. They are Phillips number 2, and you're going to need a stubby Phillips number 2 for the front and the rear, and for the rest of them you just need a regular length one. So you just want the molding to pull in flush with the car, and that the screw won't come loose. Alright, let me show you my custom made mounts here. So these are Patriot 4-inch shields I bought off Summit Racing. They are meant for side pipes. but when they say they're 4-inch, they are actually the radius of 4-inch of the side pipe, which you don't want, because you want a small air gap in between them, and that'll allow air to come through and keep this metal cool for when you're coming out of the car. You can rub your leg up against this, and it won't be hot. It'll be warm, because when it's chrome, it'll be in the summertime, and you'll have some heat coming off your side pipe transferring to this. But the air gap, like you can see, I have a gap here. I could just fit a finger under it, so I don't know how much that is, but all I did is I took some 5-inch gear clamps. I drilled there was holes already in the Patriot shields here and here, so I made my gap, and then I drilled holes through the gear clamp where I needed to, and then I just used a couple of nuts to create space, nuts and washers, to create space with my screws. And as my screws came through, I just used some acorn nuts to tighten it all together onto the shield and to create a decorative finish. They do have mounts, side pipe mounts already prefabbed. You can get them from Summit. Last time I looked, they're around $80 for a pair. So you're going to do $160 for both sides, where these gear clamps probably cost me $3 each. Spare nuts that I had laying around, some spare screws I had laying around, and I just bought the acorn nuts for, I don't know, probably 60 cents each or something. And I got them together, and I've never had a problem with them. They've never loosened up. They've never come off. They've been dependable for me, and they come on and off really easy. The ones that you can buy, what they have is actually a threaded insert punched through the gear clamp. So they're just using the gear clamp too, but they have a threaded insert punched through it, and you run a screw from the outside into that threaded insert. So that threaded insert will create your space, and then you'll have a nice flush screw on the outside that you'll see. But you know what? I've never had anybody make comments about these acorn nuts, if anybody has even noticed them. So if you want to save yourself a few bucks, and you got a drill, some extra screws. So I did use a flat headed screw for the inside, and then it just sits onto the tailpipe, and once you clamp it down, it doesn't move. And I haven't marked up my side pipe at all with these screws. Like on this end, I can't even tell where the screw's been sitting, because it hasn't left a mark from the screw heads. So that is that, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you're not. And summer's coming, so we are going to be doing more stuff. I did not do much with the car this year. Actually, I do have a surprise. One thing I did do is actually put stripes on the car, and I did name the car. I've always called this car Nightmare, just because of it's a C3. Everything's tight. Like the space wise, it's tight to work on anything. Everything's a nightmare like that, because it takes longer just because of space requirements. So I named the car Nightmare. This here is you can see it's still pretty dark, and in the daytime, without a direct light on it like this, It is hard to miss, but people catch it, right? So I put that on, and let's see the stripes. So there's the hood, stripe on the hood, comes down, finishes almost the angle of the end of the hood, but not exact. I had this extra stripe just to accent, right, just to make everything pop. Comes over the roof. So these are my glass T-tops. So these are just vinyl stickers, so he was able to just put it right onto there. Came across the back pillar. And then on the back of the car, he was able to come down, come around the emblem nice. He trimmed up nice around the emblem and came around the Corvette lettering and trimmed nicely around that. So everything comes over nice and even, and then we just end right here above the license plate. And yeah, it just makes the car pop a little bit more, makes it nice. It's something different, right? Just have make your car stand out. It's only a few $100. Some guy do this, so not a big deal. It's hard to see on the edge of the hood. He actually wrapped right around the back end of the hood too, as he came around the edge. So the header's all in. I just got to put plugs back into it. And that is it. This car should be rolling. Oh, my new oxygen sensor mount. Let me show you that. How should be a lot more accessible. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. See that hole there on the right there. So that's my new mount. So that is that. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.